Imagine if Washington, London, or Beijing suddenly ground to a halt. No police, no banks, no laws. Yesterday, you were a middle-class citizen. Today, you have to kill your neighbor for a piece of moldy bread. This isn't post-apocalyptic fiction. This is China in 192 AD. History calls this the warlord era, but that sounds too heroic. In reality, it was a biological hell. The Han Empire, a superpower on par with Rome, had suffered brain death. In this absolute vacuum, China fell into the law of the jungle. It didn't need kindness. It didn't need philosophy. It needed a monster. Enter Cao Cao. Western history often paints him as a villain, a usurper. But that is too shallow. Looking at this hell, Cao Cao underwent a moral transformation. He realized that to save a country being torn apart by beasts, he had to become the fiercest beast of all. He made a chilling declaration. "I would rather betray the world than let the world betray me." This wasn't just selfishness, it was a radical pragmatic manifesto. To restore order, he was willing to bear the weight of every sin. This video is not a list of dates and battles. We are going to dissect 3 souls that decided the fate of China. A toddler armed with a nuclear weapon, an architect trying to defy destiny, and a savior doomed to fail. Welcome to the real Game of Thrones. Welcome to the 3 kingdoms. Before Cao Cao could build order, he had to survive the agent of chaos, Lu Bu. If Cao Cao was the brain, Lu Bu was pure violence. Imagine a warrior with the strength of a Greek demigod, but the emotional maturity of a toddler. He had no loyalty. He had no plan. Whoever gave him gold was his father. Whoever annoyed him died. He betrayed everyone he ever served. He was a walking nuclear bomb with no safety switch, or rather, one anyone could detonate. While the old aristocrats tried to play politics with this mad dog, Cao Cao saw the truth. You don't negotiate with a hurricane. You engineer a way to stop it. Cao Cao didn't duel Lu Bu. He used trenches, sieges, and water engineering to trap the god of war like a rat. When he executed Lu Bu, it symbolized the victory of system over individual heroism. But Cao Cao was driven by more than just order. He was driven by resentment. He was the grandson of a eunuch. In the snobbish aristocracy of the Han Dynasty, he was trash with power. The elites looked down on him. This humiliation fueled his source code update for China. He hated the old money system based on bloodlines. So he instituted a radical meritocracy. His recruitment proclamation basically read, "I don't care if you are a murderer, a thief, or a drunkard. If you have talent, you are hired." Then came his masterstroke, holding the emperor to command the warlords. The aristocrats saw the homeless emperor as a burden. Cao Cao saw the ultimate asset. He turned the emperor into a high-level rubber stamp. Suddenly, when Cao Cao attacked his rivals, he wasn't a warlord. He was the law. He built a regime that was cruel, efficient, and terrifyingly functional. He turned millions of starving refugees into a state-owned farming war machine. He was ready to crush the old world. The year 200 AD, the Battle of Guandu. This is the ultimate clash of values. In the blue corner, Yuan Shao, 100,000 troops, endless resources. He represents the bloated old aristocratic alliance. In the red corner, Cao Cao, 20,000 troops, starving. He represents the ruthless new order. On paper, Cao Cao was doomed. But here is where character becomes destiny. Yuan Shao ran his army like a dysfunctional family business full of ego, infighting, and indecision. Cao Cao ran his army like a hungry startup facing bankruptcy. When a strategist from Yuan Shao's camp defected in the middle of the night, Cao Cao didn't even wait to put on his shoes. He ran out barefoot to greet him. Why? Because he was desperate, because he was pragmatic, because he knew that information was worth more than dignity. The defector revealed Yuan Shao's weakness, his supply depot at Wuchao. Cao Cao took a gamble that would make a professional poker player sweat. He left his main camp defenseless. He led his last 5,000 elite troops deep behind enemy lines. He told his men, "There is no retreat. We burn their food tonight, or we all die tonight." When the fire at Wuchao lit up the sky, Yuan Shao's massive army didn't just lose, they collapsed psychologically. The battle proved one thing: an efficient dictatorship will always beat a loose coalition of elites. Cao Cao stood victorious over the ruins of the aristocracy. He unified northern China. Standing by the Yangtze River, looking south, he believed he was invincible. He forgot that every Goliath eventually meets his David. Enter the ultimate underdog, Liu Bei. By all accounts, Liu Bei was a loser. At 47, he had no territory, had lost every battle, and even abandoned his family to flee. So why did legendary warriors like Guanyu, the god of war, follow this loser to the ends of the earth? Because Liu Bei had a superpower Cao Cao lacked. He sold hope. In a world that treated people like numbers, Liu Bei treated them like humans. He was the spiritual antithesis to Cao Cao. But a spiritual icon needs a brain. Enter Zhuge Liang. Western pop culture often treats him like a wizard. That is a mistake. He was a grand strategist. While everyone else was looking at the next battle, 27-year-old Zhuge Liang was looking 20 years into the future. He presented Liu Bei with the famous Longzhong Plan, a blueprint to split China into 3 kingdoms. His logic was shocking. Stop trying to kill Cao Cao. You can't. Stop trying to unify China. It's impossible. Instead, create a stalemate. Divide the pie into 3. This was the first time in history someone proposed a tripartite geopolitical theory. It wasn't just a tactic, it was a redesign of the empire. To pull this off, they needed the south, and Sun Quan, the young heir to the southern lands, was terrified. Facing Cao Cao's 800,000 men, he wanted to surrender. But Zhuge Liang and the southern commander Zhou Yu played on his fear and pride. They told him, "If we surrender, we get to keep our jobs. But you go to prison." And so the Alliance of Losers was born. A group of refugees and a terrified heir decided to fight the giant. 208 AD, Red Cliffs. Cao Cao arrived with his massive fleet. To solve the problem of his northern cavalry getting seasick, he chained his ships together. History mocks this, but it was a logical engineering decision. He turned the river into land. He bet on physics and sheer numbers, but he forgot to account for biology and meteorology. First, the invisible killer. Cao Cao's army was being decimated by a southern plague, likely schistosomiasis. The immune systems of the northerners collapsed as the southern wetlands. Before the first arrow was fired, Cao Cao had already lost half his strength. His war machine was rusting from the inside out. Second, the wind. Winter winds in China typically blow northward. Cao Cao was upwind. He felt safe from fire. But the southern commanders knew their local climate. They knew that a freak anti-cyclone could create a sudden southeast wind. They caught that black swan moment. Huang Gai's fire ships charged like meteors. Because the ships were chained, they couldn't escape. The fire spread along the iron chains, incinerating the order Cao Cao had spent a lifetime building. Cao Cao fled back to the north in the mud. That night, he didn't just lose an army. He lost the mandate of heaven, the divine right to rule. The monster failed to save the world. Many see Red Cliffs as a glorious victory for the underdog. But on the scale of civilization, it was a tragedy. That fire burned away the last hope for China to reunify for the next 400 years. It didn't bring peace. It locked the realm in a deadly stalemate. Cao Cao lost the power to unify. Sun Quan lost the ambition to expand. Liu Bei was burdened by a dream he could never fully realize. They thought they were the players. In reality, they were prisoners locked in a geopolitical cage. The whale fall, the collapse of the Han Empire, was over, but dawn never came. We thought we were watching the rise of heroes. Instead, we are watching three powerful men walking slowly toward their tragic fates. The exciting part is over. Now comes the painful part. In the next episode, we will witness the slow, heartbreaking death of idealism. Why did the god of war have to die? And why did the smartest man in history fail to defy heaven? This is Civilization Unmasked. Subscribe to see how the story ends.